Hey guys, welcome to Hurting Little Cows to the Glory of God. For some reason, Mark thought I needed it on my forehead or eye or something. I don't know. Okay, so today is Saturday. The something. It's 5th? 6th? 6th? Yes, 6th. Okay, Saturday the 6th. So we've been busy the last couple days. So this isn't the daily anymore. I called it the whatever. Whenever the other day. But I think we need to rename it. We were talking about renaming it. What did we say?
I don't know. Stop doing that weird thing with your eyeball, though.
We were something out to pasture. You said something out.
Oh, yeah.
Out to pasture. The daily out to pasture. I don't know. Yeah. We're gonna think of a name for it, but
thoughts from the pasture.
We are
deep meditations from the cow pasture.
We have been really busy the last couple days in a good way, and I don't even remember what day we last did the video. But today's Saturday. Wednesday, Lobster Festival started in the town next to us, which is the biggest festival in our area, and they haven't done it the past 2 years, and this year they made it free, and we're making it a big hometown thing. So we don't know how many people have been there, but it's been really busy. They're not even going to have a good number of how many have been there, because we got there Wednesday, and the cop who was watching the entrance gate told us that they didn't start counting people until 4 o'clock. But when he opened the gate at 10, people immediately were a long line, like a half-mile line or something, of people waiting for food because they sell like lobsters and all of that. So there were a lot of people there when they opened. So to start counting 6 hours later, they're not going to have a good number. So Wednesday, I don't know how long it was. It was a ways though, because it went up a hill and ways over. Anyway, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and today, we've been out every day from 3:45-ish to 6-ish. Every day's been a little bit different, but I've been trying to get us out of the house around 3:30. It's worked most of the time, but we've had different little things. So we're all trying to wear the same shirts. So here, I'm wearing my Jesus is Enough shirt. We recently bought one of these for each person in the family. When we're all wearing the same shirt, it shows that we're together and it's easier for me to count the kids. So these Jesus is Enough shirts are from Adams Road. Adams Road is a band that are all former Mormon missionaries who are now all Christians. And we really like their music. Naomi really likes their music. And they have these shirts that Jesus is enough. And so we can have a gospel starter about Jesus being the only thing we need, that we don't have to add any works to that. And there are a lot of people who think that they have to add working for the church, or they have to add how they dress, or they have to add homeschooling their children, or baptism, or speaking in tongues. There's all kinds of different things people think they need to add, but really it's all just Jesus. The thief on the cross recognized who Jesus was, and Jesus told him, "Today you will be with me in paradise." So there was repent, believe the gospel. So anyway, so we got these shirts, and we've been wearing these or our Jesus Christ is King. And why I mentioned that is because that's one of the things that set us back one day, was I suddenly realized people weren't all wearing the same shirt. We had to go find the shirts and figure out what was going on. Today we had a little incident that we accidentally locked the keys in the car as we were about to leave, because our car automatically locks when it's turned on. But it was 87 degrees today. And for Maine, that's really, really hot. So we had sent Virginia out to turn on the car to cool it down. Usually in Maine, we have to turn our cars on to heat them up in the wintertime. You can't go anywhere unless you have heated up your car before you go. And in Maine, we rarely need to cool down our cars before we get in them. But today we did. Accidentally locked the keys in the car. Good thing Mark knows how to pick a lock.
And it was pick a lock, just for the record.
He did whatever he did. But luckily we were in our own driveway, so no one thought we were breaking into our car. So anyway, every day we've been going out. I've been taking meals with us so the littles can eat on the road. Usually Mark and Virginia and Naomi eat once we get home. We set up across the street from the main entrance. There's some trees right there next to the sidewalk, and so I set up a blanket and the stroller and the wheelchair with like our cooler and all of that stuff on that side of the street, and the kids hand out tracts from there, and I can keep a good eye on the kids. Girls stand across the street where there's a police officer watching the gate. So if anything were to happen, he's right there and can help in that situation. Yesterday was Friday, and it was the first Friday, so that town, Rockland, does what they call First Friday Art Walk. So they close down Main Street, and all the art galleries are open doing special events. So the road was closed down, and Virginia was able to use the amplifier to read scripture. Naomi had a whiteboard. We've had 2 whiteboards now. The first one said, where will you spend eternity? And it was heaven, hell, I don't know, or I don't care. And so people were marking. We had a couple other people who added that they would be spending time on Paradise Earth, that they would be spending time in the celestial kingdom, which is Mormon beliefs. The Paradise Earth is Jehovah's Witness beliefs. We had a couple that said they were like going to be in Tahiti or whatever else they were saying. Our board yesterday was, who do you say Jesus is? And it was God, a prophet, a good teacher. I don't even remember what all the other ones were. Our spirit brother.
There were like 8 options.
There were like 8 options, and still people were writing things. Some guy told me that Jesus is a feeling. So we had some interesting conversations there. But we've been able to be out every day. As of last night, we had passed out about 400 tracts over the course of time. Today we went out with a group, open air campaigners. Had done a teaching a couple weeks ago here, and Virginia and Naomi went to the training just so we could get some extra knowledge of different things people did. That same lady came back to town today to be able to, sorry, I was watching Josiah. He's rolling around in bed. She came back today to be able to be here for the Lobster Festival, and so we stood with them, but I feel like we clogged the sidewalk a little too much. I mean, we were staying out of the way, but I feel like we weren't able to really do much because of just how the setup was. And so Naomi and Virginia ended up moving across the street, and Virginia read some verses, and they were able to share some tracts and stuff. I think tomorrow when that group sets up, we're going to set up in our normal space to be able to hand out tracts.
I'm preaching.
Mark wants to preach tomorrow. Mark,
Pray for me.
yes, pray for Mark, because this is something he used to preach out on the street all the time when we went out. But because of the dystonia, it's something that has been very hard for him. He has a hard time keeping a train of thought. And so he would really like to preach tomorrow. We're going at an earlier time tomorrow because they do the crate races. Is it the international ones?
Whatever.
So they take old wooden lobster traps and hook
Crate.
lobster crates, sorry,
Not the same.
and hook 50 of them together, and you run on the top of them, but as they're wet, they're slippery, and they're just held together with a rope, so they're moving, and you got to go 50 across and get onto the other platform. And so people have run a long ways. They go one way, and then they take a short break and come back. I mean, like less than a minute break and
Many
run back.
laps.
Many
Dozens of
laps.
laps.
And there's boats sitting there waiting if someone falls off to be able to get them and everything. But it's really fun to watch. A lot of people come for that. So there's going to be a lot of people out tomorrow, and it's going to be afternoon. So hopefully Mark will be able to handle that better, just being afternoon time. He doesn't work as well in the evening. He doesn't work as well. Like his batteries run out. He doesn't work as well in the evening. But evening's been the best time to do ministry the other days because of just events going on and everything. So anyway, that's what we're going to do tomorrow. What does other people want to hear from us? Oh yeah, we'll do that after church. We'll do it tomorrow, go to church, and then we'll go over to do evangelism. What were some of the other things we were going to talk about? So we know that you guys probably don't want to hear everything about our daily lives every day, but that's what we're going to be sharing, because our normal days are home and just looking at the small blessings that God has given us each day. New little things that the kids can accomplish.
Like babies climb out of bed.
Oh yeah, Gideon figured out tonight, finally, how to climb off the bed. So he gets to the edge and realizes he's at the edge, so he turns around, and he's asleep right now, so I can't show you what he does. But he crawls over to the edge of the bed, and then he turns himself around and slides off backwards. And it's very cute to watch. And then he looks at us and claps.
So excited.
He's so excited. He has learned to give high fives when he does it. So he gets off the bed, gives us high fives, starts to crawl out the door, stops and looks at us to see if we're chasing him, and then goes and tries to crawl into his brother's room. That was tonight after they went to bed. So he's just very cute, and he's starting to understand what no means, because he kept climbing off and saw the trash can one time, and so he'd start to touch it and we'd say no, and we sign no also. And you could tell that his little mind was working, like, do I touch, do I not touch? We didn't really correct tonight. We just firmly said no and took him to something else, and we only did it like 3 times that he was sitting next to it, and then he found something else to do. So that's how we start our child training, is just when we say no, we then take the child away from that activity. And when it becomes something that they become more persistent on, that's when we start doing more correcting. And I said, no, we're not going to touch, and not just distract them. But that comes later when they actually have processed that no means something. It takes a while for each kid to understand that, and I think it happens at different ages. I don't think there's one set age. We have had children at 9 months who knew exactly what no meant. Virginia was 9 months old, and I just remember her looking at me, and I had said no, and then she was trying to touch the VCR while looking at me, like, are you going to say something? She definitely knew what no meant. But I've had other kids that are like 14, 15 months that really, you say no and they're like, what's that word coming out of your mouth? I don't know what you're talking about. So I won't say what your child's age is. Anyway, we also, we just want to share what a blessing just normal life is, and being able to be a family at home. I know our family looks different because Mark's not working currently, which brings its own challenges to our daily life. But I don't know. We feel that there's too much emphasis. I know a lot of people who do vlogs, and they kind of, or whatever these called, vlogs, YouTube channels, whatever, where they focus a lot on these activities that we're doing, and we want you to be involved in these activities. We want you to see the enjoyment the kids get out of, like, the road getting paved last week, or the tractor showing up to till our garden once a year. Right, is that what it was? Yeah. Tilling our garden. Or the baby crawling off the bed and the excitement that brings. Like, those are the things we want to emphasize, because when you're home all the time with your children, it's easy to feel like you're stuck and forget to be content with the things God has given you. And God has given you a lot of things around you that are, blessings, like you have a roof over your head, you can turn on your faucet and water comes out, but also things that are enjoyable and fun and should bring joy to your face when you see your family enjoying these things. And I think too often we forget, we kind of get in that mindset that Disney, I don't suggest going to Disney World anyway, but that, you need to make these big enjoyable trips for your kids, like going to Disney World, where our kids find it super enjoyable to go to the library. Like, our kids act like it's the biggest deal to go to the library, or to go to Grandma's free concert last week, or to go into the free lobster festival that we went to, where they had a petting zoo. We didn't do any of the other stuff. Like, they had bounce houses and everything. Our kids liked going to the petting zoo and seeing the animals. So I think we overcomplicate things because we're not very content in the life that God has given us. And I know that can be true for me, that, I don't know, it's easy to want the latest and greatest, or think that if I get this planner, or I get this homeschool curriculum, everything's going to be better. Instead of thinking, God has provided me with these things, and what can I do with the resources that I have? And how can I be glorifying Him through those times? And so, I don't know. I think just taking a step back and looking at what God has given you. We're going to be doing just a lot of daily videos to tell you what's going on here in our daily life, because that's where we are. That's where God's put us. God's put us to make disciples of these little people that we have in our house right now. And I know when I was a new mom, I felt like 19 years ago when I first had Virginia, I felt like she was keeping me from doing more important work within the church. Like, I could be out doing more things with the youth group. We used to be youth group leaders. I could be out doing more things with the youth group, or I could be involved in more things with the women's programs or whatever it was, when really my focus should have been on her and training her up as a disciple. And so God changed us a lot within those first few kids, and continues changing us a lot the more children we have, to show us that really this is our most important ministry, and that we need to focus on this over all else, because these are there are a lot of people in the world, and there are a lot of people who might ask things of me. Like, if you write me a message, I shouldn't be more concerned about answering your YouTube comment than I am about discipling the children that God has put here, because I don't know if God wants me to disciple you when you write me a question. I don't know if that's something that God has in the works for us. I do know that God expects me to disciple the children that are within my home. So I need to make sure that I'm doing that first and foremost. So that's what's going on. We are busy the next little while. Sometime this week, we hopefully have friends from Florida coming to visit. They are in the state, but I don't know what day they're coming to see us, because some things have moved around for them. We have to go to Portland on Monday for a doctor's appointment, so that throws a kink in our normal staying home schedule. So today the girls specifically the girls, I did some too, but spent a bunch of time making ahead some meals so that we have them ready for Monday, when we need to be out of the house by 10:30, and then we'll be gone for lunch. So we have that. Hopefully these friends coming from Florida. Next month, we have friends visiting from Washington State that we haven't seen in multiple years. The girls have been doing Bible study with their girls, and Mark and I are very close to the mom and the dad by way of the mom. We knew her before she was married, and so we're very excited that they're coming. And I don't know, it's end of summer, so we're trying to spend more time with Mark's parents before the summer ends. We have our camper up at Mark's mom's house. So, Mammy, we're coming to see you soon. Yeah, what else? We've got a couple meals planned with a couple people to get to know some local Christians more. What else do we have going on? I feel like there's a lot, but I can't remember it all right now. So, that's what we've got going on. We will do these videos when we have time for them.
The whenevers.
But, huh?
The whenevers.
The whenevers, not the dailies, the whenevers. So come back and see us whenever we do another video, and we will tell you about the simple goings on in our life. We'll see you guys next time on Herding Little Cows to the Glory of God.